So, it's been a while, huh? For those of you that remember me from Bionicle Day 2 years ago, some changes have happened. I look like this now. For those of you who aren't familiar with me or my website, hi, I'm Wynn, and I run a site called Crosswired Geeks, which is home to a project called Biological Chronicle. For those not familiar, Biological Chronicle is a compilation of the entire Bionicle story, meant to provide an easy way to read through the entire story without repeating over the same thing multiple times in different formats, but still experiencing things from all of the different forms of media that there were. So, books, comics, web serials, podcasts, and so on, all spliced together into 10 volumes, presented in the style of novels, not unlike the original Bionicle books, but much, much larger. Last time I was on here, I went over a very large update to Biological Chronicle, adding a number of different content changes and updates that I had been wanting to do for a long time, and fixing the vast majority of typos and errors that had been reported to me. I also promised a few things, namely alternate formats, including a format designed for printing, for taking to a printing press and getting your own physical copy made, and various ebook formats, specifically EPUB and Mobi. For those that have been following the project, you may have seen that I did post some ebooks, some AZW3s of the standard version of each of the different volumes, but then kind of nothing. And it's been a while since then. So, there's not a particular reason for that. There's been a lot going on in my life. I've just had a lot of things going on around me, a lot of things I've had to take care of. But also, a number of months ago, I made a discovery. The method I had used to create the digital copies of the Bionicle comics that I was using was imperfect. This was something that I did back in 2017 when I first made this project, when I first started it. And safe to say that I wasn't doing everything exactly as efficiently as I could have been back then. So, with this new knowledge that there was a better way to rip these digital comics and provide much higher resolution versions in Biological Chronicle, I couldn't very well just proceed with creating the alternate formats and leave the comics as is. So, first off, for things I'm announcing today, all of the comics in Biological Chronicle that were sourced digitally, that is to say I did not manually scan them in with my scanner, have been replaced with higher resolution copies that look noticeably nicer. Here are some comparisons so you can get an idea of what kind of difference this is. But, of course, I didn't just come here today to announce slightly higher resolution comic book images and not fulfill the promise that I made 2 years ago. So, to start, let's talk about ebooks. Every volume of Biological Chronicle, and every version of every volume. There are alternate versions of some of these volumes that can have differences in what content they contain. Every single version of all 10 volumes now is available, in addition to PDF, in Mobi, EPUB, and AZW3. These are fully functional ebooks that you can load onto your e-reader and they will immediately work. There are ones available with the comic pages in them. They will likely display in grayscale on most e-reader devices, but they still look nice and sharp in my testing. I've added tables of contents to these ebooks so that you can quickly scroll from chapter to chapter very easily while browsing them on an e-reader. And for situations where this is applicable, all of the alt text on all of the images is maintained in the ebooks that is in the PDFs. So if you are using some sort of app to read these ebooks that involves an auto reader or a screen reader, that alt text is there for you still. And finally, the thing that I've been very eager to finish, very eager to get pushed out, because I know that a few people, as I've seen on places like Reddit and Twitter, have already jumped the gun on this and started getting copies printed themselves using the existing PDF version. I am finally releasing Word docs for every version of every book that are formatted specifically with printing in mind. Now, depending on the printing press you're going to take these to, there will of course be slight differences in what's required of the specific dimensions, which is why these are provided as Word docs, so you can make slight changes as needed. But I formatted these specifically for Barnes & Noble's press service that you can use there. That's what I used to order test prints of these, and I think they came out very nicely. These are formatted to be printed at a 6x9 size, because that, from my research, seems to be a pretty common size available at different printing presses, and strikes a nice balance between being large enough to comfortably view the comic pages, while still not so big that they're cumbersome to carry around or read. I've also uploaded to the site a Photoshop file, a PSD, of a dust jacket. Again, designed for Barnes & Noble's press service, but all of the layers are still separate. Everything can be tweaked so you can modify it to the needs of whatever printing press service you are using. This way, all of those lovely covers that were designed by Dusty S and that I implemented in Biological Chronicle 2 years ago can still be displayed on the front of your printed versions very easily. And with that, I think it's time for me to say, this is the final update to Biological Chronicle. I have been working on this project for over 6 years now, which feels crazy. I never thought that it's something I would be working on for this long. And in some cases is something I feel like I should have been able to have done more quickly than this. But I want to thank so many of you for the support that you've shown to this project over the years. I want to thank all of you for the nice messages I've received about it, for those of you that continue to use it to expose your friends to Bionicle, to introduce them to it. That's a big part of the reason I originally made it, was to provide a nice, easy way for new people to read this whole story and keep up with all of it. So it really means a lot. Since this is the final update, and I will no longer be making any updates or changes to this project, I thought it was finally time to do one other thing that I've received many requests for over the years for various reasons. I will be making the original Word documents for Biological Chronicle available on the website to download for your own use. So, if there's something you don't like about how I formatted this collection, if you think there's something I excluded that should be there, if there's something you think I included that shouldn't be there, if you think things should be in a slightly different order, if there's something about the formatting you don't like, you can now change that. You don't have to ask me about it and then wait for who knows how long for me to maybe get around to providing that option for you. It's right there. This has been a hard decision for me to make because this project is my baby at this point. I care very much about it, and the idea of putting it out there for people to edit it as much as they want and do whatever they want with it has been a little scary to me. But I created this as a resource for the community, and I want it to continue to be that as much as it can. So I think the best way to do that is to provide everything and let everyone do with it what they want and make use of it to its fullest extent. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. So thank you all again so much for all the support that you've shown me. And I'll leave off by saying, now that I'm done with Biological Chronicle and can put it behind me, I'm hoping that I can devote more time to some other pursuits in this fandom and on my website and my YouTube channel that I've left behind for a while. So, for those of you that have been waiting for this, asking for this, for those of you who even know what this is, Deconstructing Bionicle Episode 2 is in production. Thanks everyone. Bye.